JoshCast, dun 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 dun. No, it's the podcast that keeps going, dun 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 dun. Oh, in spite of the fact that I don't think anyone's listening, dun 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 dun. JoshCast, dun 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 dun. JoshCast. I could be wrong. Maybe people are listening. I'm not sure. If you're, tell you what, if you're listening, tweet at Nerdy Virgin saying, "Hey, I'm listening." Don't say whether or not you like the podcast, though, because I'm too emotionally fragile right now. I just need to know if you're listening. That's all. Just tweet at Nerdy Virgin, "Hey, I listened to it," and we'll see. We'll see as that experiment to see if anyone is listening. I just finished eating some sour Skittles. My tongue is very badly cut up. I don't care. Sour Skittles are delicious. I like that sweet and sour combination. I think it's a metaphor for existence. It's painful, and yet at moments sweet. It's mostly painful. The sweet moments are far fewer than the painful moments. So, that said, the sour Skittles are actually better than reality. And that's, good for the Skittles people for finding a way to make something better than reality. I'm trying to be more authentic when I am on stage. Off stage, closed book. Total closed book. But on stage, more authentic. And what have I been talking? I've been talking about having sexual thoughts about women and men somewhat. I've been talking about that. Audiences, they don't want to hear it. I don't know if that's true. I'm projecting. Maybe they do want to hear it. But it's how I feel. It's what's going on. I've never been with a man. And I don't want to necessarily go out there and try it. I would only want to... I would only want it to happen if I genuinely had feelings for the man and the man genuinely had feelings for me. Same with women. Doesn't matter. I don't want to have casual sex. That's the conclusion I've reached. Which may be the least human thing I've ever said. I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to want casual sex. If I say I don't want casual sex, people are judging me for that. Or saying that I'm... maybe they're not judging me. I don't know. Point is, I don't want casual sex. I don't like it. It's too casual. I want to have sex where I love the person. Then again, I've never been in love with a person. And so the possibility exists that I could meet someone, fall in love with them, have sex, and go, you know what? Casual sex was better. But casual sex... sex it's nice. It's definitely a positive. It's a positive feeling. It's not a negative feeling. But if romantic, true love sex is not as good as casual sex, then I really don't. I'm good. I've had what I've had. I would rather have more sour Skittles, frankly. But that must not be true because I've heard so many stories about people who've had great, meaningful sex with people that they love, and that can't all be made up, can it? I don't know. That can't be made up. It has to be true. That's what I keep telling myself. But I don't know where to go from here. I don't know where to meet people. I don't feel like I'm in that much control. I don't feel like anyone is in that much control. Because I know I've had, more than one friend, talk about the process of dating. You got to go out there. You got to get it back on the horse. You got to, try it, blah, 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 blah. And then they end up meeting someone, whoever they end up marrying, they just, it was coincidence that they met them. Just pure, sitting next to the person at work. And suddenly there it is. Pure coincidence. There was no trying. It just happened. And that's That's what it seems like. It just happens. It happens or it doesn't happen. And for me, it hasn't happened. Unconsciously, do I not want it to happen? That's what people have said. Oh, well, maybe you don't want to be in a relationship unconsciously, or even consciously. You don't want to be in a relationship. And I mean, I'm really pleased that people think that I'm that put together that I've made one decision one way or the other. I get up, I go through this roller coaster of fear and panic all day, and then I go to bed, and there's no stopping and thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do some kung fu, and I'm going to save the world, and then perhaps have a relationship, and then have children, and then do this, that. It's not how it works. I get up, I worry about death, I brush my teeth, I take a shower, I worry about death, I go to work, I worry about getting fired, I get up on stage, I worry about being not good enough, I come home, I watch Batman, I go, oh, if only, I say to myself, I love this Batman, but no mortal could do what he does, so he's violating the laws of physics, and I'm trying to get on board with this, but there's a part of me that's thinking, I can't suspend my disbelief, and then I worry about death, and I go to bed, and that's my life. There's no point in there am I plotting a relationship course. Transition. This is supposed to be a comedy podcast. And I don't think I'm achieving that. It's categorized. Maybe I should just change the category on iTunes. That would be a lot easier than, generating material. But yeah, the plan is I want this to be a pure comedy podcast, and that's that is not happening. Someone could find this funny. There's certainly no setups or punchlines from what I can tell. And if there are setups and punchlines, then I'm really lost it. I really cannot sense what that is. It's even to the point now where I'm taking a drink of Perrier in the middle of this podcast, specifically the grapefruit flavored Perrier, which I enjoy that. I enjoy grapefruit flavored Perrier. Fancy water, that sort of no longer fancy because it's grapefruit. I don't know. I shouldn't be coming down on Perrier. That's not fair. They're a fine company. I can't prove that. Maybe they're not a fine company. Maybe they could have murdered millions. I have no idea. And they covered it up. How would they murder millions of people? Why would they murder millions of people? Maybe there's a conspiracy, a Perrier caliber conspiracy of some kind. I'm not sure. I don't have the answer for that. I don't want to sully the good name that is Perrier. Perrier inspires great romance when I think of it. Does it though? I mean, not virile, masculine. I don't think Bond could order a Perrier. I mean, Bond might order a Perrier if it's 11 in the morning and he's... No, but I feel like even he would order a club soda before he ordered a Perrier. I don't think Bond wouldn't order a Perrier. Picard, maybe. I know he was an Earl Grey tea, but there had to be times where he wanted something that was more of a soda flavor, but he didn't want to drink the soft drinks because it's not good for you. Although, in Star Trek The Next Generation, by the time they get to the 24th century, one assumes that they would come up with a way to have a soft drink without it being as carcinogenic, thanks to technology. Which also reminds me, by the way, that they're growing meat in labs now. It's called clean meat. So you don't have to kill anything. They just grow the slab of meat that you eat. And, I'm hoping that meat tastes as good as normal meat. and that it is true that you're not actually killing anything, because I think it's really gonna piss off the vegans when they find out that they can eat meat without anything dying. I'm wondering what that's going to do to veganism. I'm wondering if that's they're going to have a lot of conflicting feelings about it. I wonder if it's going to taste as good, meat that's grown in a lab. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Then again, I mean, the meat that I've eaten lately has not been great because they're just treating the animals terribly, and I can taste it. So why not have meat that tastes like Windows 7? That sounds like a plan. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'd rather have the Apple meat than the Windows meat. I'm not sure if those companies are making that, but I probably trust the Apple meat. I imagine that it would be a much more stable meat. The Windows meat, it'd be crashing. You have to Control Alt Meat Delete. I apologize for that. That was an attempt at a joke, so I guess I can still categorize this as a comedy podcast. Transition. I don't know. I know it's a transition, but I'm really back to the thing I was talking about earlier, the whole finding romance thing. My mother's doctor tells me that I'm missing out on something by not being in a relationship. I'm missing out on something. I'm missing out on having an argument with another person in my life. That's what I feel like I'm missing out on. I'm smacking my lips a lot too, aren't I? I apologize. I don't mean to smack my lips. That's just not becoming, is it? And there are 3 dogs and a guy walking his dog, walking past the tiny dogs. I have a dislike of tiny dogs, and it's nothing against the dogs. I'd rather they roam wild and free. It's nothing personal. A tiny dog, maybe a tiny dog reminds me of myself too much. I'm just sitting there looking at that dog thinking, in the wild, you wouldn't last 5 seconds. On the other hand, though, and it reminds me of me. I wouldn't last 5 seconds in the wild. I'm not lasting 5 seconds in society at this point. I'm grabbing my crotch as I'm speaking. I shouldn't mention that, but I feel like I should be honest with you. I generally, when I'm flailing to think, I grab my crotch. I grab it too much. I shouldn't grab it. I think all guys grab it. I think we grab it instinctively because it really should not be outside the body like it is. It's really not a good design concept. It should be protected more, and I think we all instinctively know that. This is a huge design flaw, so we're walking around, shielding our crotchal areas. Crotchal area is not a word. I just didn't want to use a word that was more crass, but crotchal area is pretty freaking crass when I think about it. Which I shouldn't think about. I should just keep talking. This is stream of consciousness. Is that the plan? I'm just going to stream of consciousness talk into a mic. I'm trying to figure out, is this the worst podcast? I don't know. What could be more worse than this podcast? But now I'm being negative, and that's not fair. I'm telling myself all day, I need to be nice to myself. I need to stop beating myself up. I need to love myself. I need to be there for myself. I need to stop blaming myself. Sometimes things happen, mistakes are made. But I'm doing my best. I'm not a mean person. I'm not an evil person. I'm a nice person. I do the best that I can. And I would accomplish a lot more if I didn't beat myself up, if I remained neutral. I just keep thinking I'd remain neutral. Seinfeld always seems so relaxed and cool and calm. And I'm like, that's what I want to be. I want to see if I can find that relaxation and be cool and calm. And so I say to myself, all right, you know what I'll do? I'll meditate at the beginning of every day. And so I meditate. And then within 10 seconds, I'm right back to a nervous breakdown. So the only choice is apparently to meditate for the rest of my life, just do nothing else but meditate. Or get to the point where I'm always nervous all the time, to where that is my normal. That's more achievable from what I can tell. Way more achievable. That's what I'm going to do. In fact, I'm concerned that I'm not nervous right now. I should be way more nervous. Don't worry, I'll find it. This is the end of the podcast, the end of the podcast, and the children sing and the children play. This is the end of the podcast.